What's up, guys? Welcome back to Two in the Zone. It is Tuesday, May the 3rd. I believe this is episode 102 for myself and the one, the only, the GOAT, Dead Prez Picks. Let me go ahead and just set the stage right now. Everybody, give our sponsor a quick follow. 7Stack Sports right there on Twitter. By far the best book on Twitter. Same day payouts if you're using cryptocurrency. Reduced juice lines if you're, betting NFL, NBA, things like that. And then right now for baseball, this includes Major League Baseball as well as KBO. He's giving out -1 and +1 lines. Not many books do that. So definitely give him a follow. Sign up if you don't have a book already. Or even if you have a book, it's always good to have multiple options. All right, Dad, let's get into some basketball talk. I was on your Sixers last night, man. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't know why DeAndre Jordan's on the floor, right? I mean, they were actually in the plus without him, and Doc said he's running it back with Jordan for the next game, so don't know what's going on there, but nonetheless, really just a lackluster effort there in the second half. Good first half, strong first half. Obviously had the lead at halftime. I was on them also at that +8 number, so I felt pretty comfortable, but the Heat just went on a run, and they just didn't get enough out of their role guys, right? Niang was off all night. Danny Green off all night. Tyrese Maxey, I believe they combined 1 for 15 from three. James Harden, I mean, they showed him a lot of doubles. I thought that he produced pretty good shots for the Sixers. They just couldn't knock them down. So ultimately, kind of what we expected was them not to win game one. They're going to have to try and steal game two and then hopefully get Embiid back for game three.
Yeah, I mean, they had the lead at halftime. It was a great run to end that first half. They actually could have gone up 4 points there. Like, Dad, you and I are very similar. Like, each point matters a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you miss like a wide open three or you give up a wide open three when people think it doesn't matter, it matters, especially if you're playing the line. But, man, 41 points in the second half. I think that was the biggest, downfall for them. It's tough, man. When Miami ratchets up their defense, they are an elite defensive team, and it's hard when you don't have Joel Embiid, who is, one of the MVP candidates of the year. And then the late game here, Mavericks, Suns. I'll be honest, I fell asleep. I've been working so much. I actually didn't catch the end of this game. I saw that they only lost by 7. What happened at the end?
I mean, that game was crazy, right? I was on them as my biggest play of the day yesterday at -5, so I caught the line a little bit earlier. But, I mean, that spread there, it got scary there down the stretch, obviously. Spencer Dinwiddie, uncontested three, just wide open there in the corner. And that ball was in the air for like 40 seconds, it felt like. Fortunately for Suns, but, I mean, that would have been a brutal beat, but that's the NBA. Like, there's late runs come. And that's just sometimes how it goes. But it felt like a lucky win at the end for the Suns, but it would have also been a brutal beat for the Suns. But pretty dominant game there from Phoenix. I see a lot of questions in the chat about the Grizz tonight and the Warriors. We want to get to that game in a moment. But any other thoughts on that one last night, I see, for your Mavericks?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stat line here for Luka Doncic, the best player on the planet, 45, 12, and 8, and they still lost basically by double digits, right? It's a close game at the end at 7, but it wasn't really close in the fourth quarter, to be completely honest with you guys. Yeah, and it seems like even if he gets 50, they're going to lose. So Maxey with 5 threes, Finney Smith 2, Reggie Bullock 2, Spencer Dinwiddie 2. I mean, for a team, they made 16 threes, which is around their average. They averaged 15.5 3-pointers made in that first round, which was best in the league. They made 16 last night. Biggest culprit for Dallas last night was defense, giving up 121 points. I mean, it's a really good Phoenix team. Everybody has them penciled in, whether for the finals or to win the finals. It's kind of their comeback year, right? They lost in the finals last year. But if Dallas wants to compete, 114 is good enough. They need to defend better. Giving up 121 points is not the recipe for success there. Hopefully we see a better defensive effort in game 2, and they need to slow the pace down, man. They can't run with the Suns. Let's be honest. The Suns, top to bottom, I think it it would be just Luka starting for them, right? The other 4 players on the Mavs would just be on the bench on the Suns. Like that's how much better Phoenix is talent-wise.
Right. No, I'm with you there. All right. Tonight's game, the Grizzlies and the Warriors, guys. I know you guys want us to get to this, so we will get to it now. Grizzlies are a slight dog here. Game 1 came down to the wire. I mean, Grizzlies led in that game, with under a minute to go. Klay Thompson hits the huge three. It is worth noting, though, the Grizzlies covered, right? I mean, brutal for those Warriors bettors. Klay Thompson hits the big three. He gets the big stop, but to a gambler, you still woke up hating Klay Thompson if you were on the spread, even though he won the game for the Warriors, right? He hit the big three. He blocks Morant at the end. Tonight, I'm going with the Grizz, though, AC. I think they bounce back here because this is a key thing that I took away from game 1 because I wrote this one up. I said I didn't think the Grizzlies could come back from down 10 against a team like the Warriors, but they did, right? They had the lead there with, under a minute left. They had a 2-point lead. They had a legitimate chance to win that game at the end. When I saw Ja get a running start to the basket, I thought they had it, right? I mean, the majority of the time, Morant's going to get that bucket. They're going to win the game. So I was encouraged by the way they fought back there. I mean, this is a young team, and I just think if they lose this game tonight, the series is dead, right? You cannot lose 2 on your home court. The Nuggets won 1 at home against the Warriors, right? I think the Grizzlies are a much, much better team. I think we see a pretty desperate effort tonight from Memphis, and I love the value here we're getting at plus 110, plus 115, wherever your book is at. So I'm going to go with the Grizzlies on the money line, even though last game, if you took that plus 2, you lucked out, but I think they went outright.
Yeah, I was on plus 2.5. I got it early, plus 2.5 last game, so that was a nice win for me. This is a huge step up from the T-Wolves to the Warriors, right? In that first round, the Grizzlies dominated that fourth quarter. Everybody talks about T-Wolves kind of blowing 3 fourth quarter leads, but give props to Memphis coming back there and kind of dominating those fourth quarters. You're not going to be able to dominate Golden State in fourth quarter, so they have to put together 4 solid, good quarters. Draymond Green obviously was, ejected early in that game, early in the late in the first half there. So he's going to be back. He's going to be fresh, probably extra motivated to, play well tonight. It's tough, man. I really like Grizzlies that first game. I thought they were going to steal it in the end. I'm going to lay off, man. I think I'm going to lay off on this game. I would have done Grizzlies again if they had won the first game. But losing in that fashion, I'm not sure. I think this is a little fishy with the Warriors without Draymond Green winning by 2, and now they get him back, and the line is still at 2. You can make an argument that that's a Grizzlies read, but I think I'm going to stay off of it. I kind of like the under 2 in this game, but, the NBA playoffs dead. You and I kind of noticed this, but favorites and overs have been hitting, and so I like both sides. I'm going to lay off, though.
All right. Well, let's just hope for a Grizzlies win then, right? So then there's no.
Let's do it.
We're not on any opposite sides. All right. Now we got the Bucks and the Celtics. I don't know if you were on that first game. I had the Bucks with the points. I believe you did too,
Same.
right? We both.
Yeah. Same.
So that was a little double winner. Tonight though, I'm going to the other side, right? I'm going Celtics here. I grabbed it last night at -4, -120. So I bought the hook. Now it's up to -5. So I still like it at that number. I mean, I have them winning this game. More to that 7-8 point range. We know how tight these spreads have been in the postseason, so I think it could come down to the wire here. But here's my thing with the Celtics, AC. They could not have played worse, in my opinion, in that first game. Like, Jaylen Brown was brutal. Jason Tatum really wasn't himself by any means. They didn't really hit. Their role players didn't step up, hit some big shots. And offensively, there was turning the ball over at will for a certain amount of time in that game. So I think the Bucks got the worst version of the Celtics in that first game. And then here's the second thing I'll counter with, very similar to the Grizzlies game. If Boston loses this game, series is over in my opinion, because I don't think you're going into Milwaukee where this is one of the better home teams in the NBA and stealing 2. So I think this is a must win for Boston tonight. And I love the line we're getting here. I think it's a little bit undervalued, but I also think the line's kind of indicative of what's going to happen here. They just lost, and they actually are at the same spread as they were in that first game.
Exactly. So that last point is one I want to feature. So Boston game 1 were 5-point favorites. They lost straight up by 12. Game 2, they're 5-point favorites again. I think the books are respecting Boston, the way they play the second half of the year, their awesome home court advantage. So I do like Boston. One thing that is a devil's advocate, though, they made 6 more threes than the Bucks in Game 1.
Yeah,
Obviously, they
yeah.
attempted 50 of them, right? And when you attempt 50, teams in the last 11 games are only 2-9 when they attempt 53s in a game, in a playoff game. I don't think we're going to see that again tonight. We need to see Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown attack the basket. That was the biggest difference in round 1. They just took it to Kevin Durant. They took it to Claxton, all those guys on the Nets. It's a different beast when it's Brook Lopez and Giannis, but you just have to attack and you have to make them play defense. You can't settle and let them off the hook with 3-point shots. So I see a definitely aggressive Boston team tonight. Only shot 33% that first game. They should be in the 44-45% range, which would definitely help them. I'm with Dead tonight. I like Boston. Another nice pattern here. The Bucks playoff games have gone under in all the games. So I don't know if that continues tonight, but I do like the team total under for the Bucks, man. I think Boston's going to blow them out tonight.
And I also like a player prop here. Jaylen Brown to bounce back tonight, over 22.5. I just love when a guy is an off game kind of like that. And Brown's going to be aggressive, right? I mean, he's going to get his shots up. More attention is going to go to Tatum. So I actually thought coming into this series, Brown was going to be the X factor because I think they're going to make it a point of emphasis to try and take Tatum out of the game. You're never going to really stop him, just try and limit. So I think we get a big Jaylen Brown bounce back. Also, Al Horford's over-under is just at 10.5. He shot the ball really well in the playoffs for them, and kind of another point there. Defensively, Al Horford's not your main focus. So I think that they're going to be able to beat them up. But also that game, the way it was officiated, Game 1, really not a lot of fouls were called. And I liked it. I mean, I kind of liked the flow of the game. There wasn't a whole lot. But I think Boston's going to have to adjust because Boston, I think, physically matches up very well with Milwaukee. I mean, they pushed around the Nets. That's not saying much, but I think they have the guys who can get physical defensively. I think they're great. So I think this game is a Celtics read for sure.
Yeah,
So,
to piggyback off of that, I agree with you, and I'm not sure about that Al Horford look, to be honest, Dad, because I think they're going to play Robert Williams a lot more minutes. I think Bucks players who shot against Williams as the primary defender in Game 1 shot 0 for 9. So I think they're going to have Robert Williams playing a lot more, patrolling the paint. He just needs to make sure he stays out of foul trouble because he's an elite defensive player and he just needs to be on the floor. So I think because of that, Horford is going to get a little less minutes.
yeah, well, so Game 1, Horford had 36 minutes. Williams only had 22. Now, they both started, but I don't know why, if Williams is still on that minute restriction or if they're letting him. 22 is short for him.
Yeah, he needs to be in the upper 20s or even 30s for sure.
Yeah,
he needs 10 more minutes. I agree.
Yeah, that's definitely a short look for Robert Williams. But so those are our two games tonight, AC. If you have anything else you want to get to, guys, if you have any comments or questions in the stream, props, baseball, hockey, whatever. I know last night hit a little bit of hockey, had the Kings on the ice. I don't know.
Hey, me too, bro. Me too. I had the Kings.
Bro,
Road
Kings.
Dogs. Nice little win, 4-3.
Yeah. Do you have any hockey picks tonight, you think, or anything you've looked at before?
Hockey picks I haven't looked at yet, but one thing I do want to point out is if you could get Robert Williams, steals and blocks, because I do think he's going to get an uptick in minutes, whether it's 2.5 or 3.5 or even 4.5. I feel really good about that because he's just super active with his hands. Another one is Marcus Smart, right? We kind of saw him limping and injured in that Game 1. I don't know if he's going to be able to play a full game. So maybe look at Marcus Smart unders today as well. But I agree with Dad. I do like the Celtics. In terms of hockey, let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. There's 4 games tonight. Pittsburgh against the Rangers, Washington against Florida, Nashville Avs, and Dallas Hurricanes. I'm so happy Dallas dodged the Avalanche. But I like the Rangers, man. I think the Rangers, in my opinion, are the team to beat. Not many people are talking about them in hockey, but I think they have the best power play attack in the league, and I just love the Rangers, especially at home. It's a little public tonight, but I think the Rangers get it done. Money line is -130.
That's actually the only NHL pick that I have at the moment. So I love to hear that you're on that side as well. The other ones are just super juiced tonight, and I don't know if we see any of the big dogs upset. Right? I think the Avs take care of business. Flames take care of business there at home as well. Real quick though, an MLB bet that I did want to give out here on the stream before we wrap things up. I'm going to go back to the Diamond tonight. I think Kansas City as a dog is a good look. They got Brad Keller on the mound against Dakota Hudson. Hudson's put up decent numbers this year, but I think
I hate Dakota, man.
I think there's a pretty significant advantage there on the mound. I think Brad Keller is one of the more undervalued arms. Maybe it's the market he plays in. I don't know what it is, but Brad Keller actually has given the Royals a lot of good innings the last year or two. So he's been sharp this season. I think Kansas City bounces back today. They were shut out yesterday, so like to bet on something to come back here tonight. I think the bats get rolling for the Royals. AC, do you have any baseball plays before we wrap up and give the best bets?
Yeah, I'm looking at the slate. There's a ton of games tonight. The one that really catches my eye so far is Noah Syndergaard and the Angels. I'm not a big Waka fan for Boston, just in general, so I tend to fade him if I look at just the slate and I see him pitching. So kind of like Angels on the road today as a favorite, -120. That could be a look, but nothing official yet, man.
All right, it is time for the best bets segment. We've obviously had great success on these all season long, so let's close out our show strong. AC, if you want to kick us off here, we're letting people kind of shuffle into the stream as well. But start us off with your best bet that you can make tonight.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share it on our Twitter page here. But we talked about this. It's gonna be the Celtics, man.
Okay.
I think they come out. Not only they cover the -5, they're gonna cover the first half and the full game. So I like Celtics first half -3, and also full game -5. I think they just come out, not really dominate the Bucks, but the Bucks did their job. They're gonna get the split here in Boston, and if it's kind of like a 15-20 point game late in the third, early in the fourth, I think they're gonna rest their guys. They have a lot of guys on the men, and they don't want to risk further injury. Chris Middleton's already out for the series, so they can't, have any other guys sit out. So give me the Celtics -5. That's most likely going to be the max play today.
All right, my best bet, I'm going to go to the Diamond. They were good to us last night. The Minnesota Twins at -1. I got them at -120 right over on 7Stack Sports. So if you guys need -1 baseball lines, that's my favorite thing to do. So there's no fear of getting hooked. You push at worst. But the Twins, again, pretty much just breaking it down easy here, right? They're going to be too much for the Orioles in this series offensively. And last night they got it done with only scoring 2 runs. So I expect a little bit of a burst here offensively for the Twins. They get a pretty weak arm that they're going to face tonight. So I think that they're going to be able to control it. You get Zimmerman, who has been good statistically this season, but I'm not sold yet. I mean, he's got an 0.93 versus a guy with a 1.17, but I think we're going to get runs here. You got Ryan on the mound for the Twins. I'm buying into his game. The over-under here is also 7. I love this over. I'm just not convinced on Zimmerman to this point in the season. So I think the Twins put up a crooked number in one of these innings. Over-under at 7, man. I mean, that is so low for a Twins-Orioles.
The unders are eating right now in baseball.
The balls are dead.
Just batting in general, right? We have the worst batting average in the history of the game happening right now. Hey, I want to mention something, Dad. Our teams are playing against each other. We have a series right now.
It's true.
Phillies and the Rangers. We got to do something, man. We got to do something.
We'll have to do a side bet on who's going to win the series. Although it might not be fair because I think Philly's going to be pretty heavily favored. Well,
I got to get odds.
They're only -160 tonight. I do not see a series price. There's no series price up right now, at least on DraftKings and some other sports books that I'm looking at. But we'll have to see. It'll be a good series, right? We'll have to see.
Is it a 3-game series?
I believe it's a 3-game set. Yes.
All right, let's just do it right now. 2-1 odds. Would you give it to me, Rangers?
2-1? No, I can't give you that. It's the
You
Phillies.
can't give me 2-1. They're -160 tonight. Probably -1.
Who pitches tomorrow? Like, I got to see if it's
So
Nola or
it's,
Wheeler. Then I
it's
will.
Suarez tonight, so it has to be Nola, right? Nola tomorrow.
All right, I'll give you 2-1 because it's
Yeah,
Wheeler.
Rangers have no ace.
Wait,
I couldn't
it's a
even tell
two-game
you.
series. It's a 2-game series.
That's tougher. That's
That's not
tougher.
because it might push. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why they didn't offer a series press. I was like, that's kind of weird.
It's a 2-game
That-
series.
that-
That's interesting. So after the Rangers win tonight, we'll talk about tomorrow.
Then we'll discuss it. Real quick, just to get to a comment, guys. The Mets and Braves have an early game because they have a doubleheader. I could be wrong, but I still don't see a official starting pitcher announced for the Mets. I know it's Charlie Morton for the Braves. And the Braves. See, this doesn't
Looks
make
like
sense.
it's Carrasco. Looks like it's
Is it?
Carrasco.
Is it
Yeah.
Carrasco? Okay. Because all right. So then, if it's Carrasco going, you get the Mets at -125, and the Braves there plus 105. I'm mad at the Braves. I had them yesterday, first 5. They don't win that, and then they score 2 in the 6th. So that's always the worst when the team just waits one extra inning.
It
But
happens so often.
it really does. It's crazy. I'm gonna go. I think the Mets bounce back and get that first game at home, assuming it's Carrasco. Although I think pitching wise, Morton holds a little bit of an advantage, but I think the Mets lineup kind of gets going. So if you want to get some action on that early game, I will be on the New York Mets on the money line to kick off the day.
I like it. I like the Mets as a team. Obviously, they're first place right now. Their lineup is incredible, but I hate Carrasco, so I can't back that. Maybe once Carrasco is out and they're down by like a run or something, I'll jump in live with you.
All right, I love it. Guys, we will see you all tomorrow, and then we will let you know the schedule the rest of the week. Want to give one last shout out to our sponsor and the best sports book on Twitter. Find him at 7Stack Sports. They are giving away big money all week. We're doing collabs. And also those -1 lines that people are always DMing me about. This is where I find them at 7Stack Sports. You're not going to find them on a lot of sports books, but you can here, so take advantage. Also, same-day payout in cryptocurrency, which is a huge advantage with 24/7 customer service. We will see you guys tomorrow. Hope everyone has a great night of betting.